Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
You playing fullback up there. That's all you in the weight room and watch you work out in the weight room. If you can pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I run it back to the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. Those of you who are tuned in, we want to welcome you into the program as we get things rolling right here as Alabama is on the eve of the biggest game of the season as they prepare to take on the LSU Tigers, that Bengal Tiger version of it. I'll have to share a funny Tiger story here in just a moment from my playing days at LSU, but we are definitely excited to get things rolling right here. Alabama having a good week of practice and preparation, showing a few of those highlights from practice on the live stream. But want to welcome you into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports on this November 3rd, 2023. The Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. The playbook today, as we open it up, going to have a little score prediction with the tiebreaker being LSU total yards. LSU's total yards. That's going to be your tiebreaker for today. We'll take your players of the game candidates if you would like to add those to the conversation. And then we're going to have a little finish this statement. A couple of the questions how Bama wins if the Tide's defense could be. Jalen Milroe will lead the Tide to Kool-Aid McKinstry will. Bama special teams must do what? Those are just a few of the questions. X, you need to go ahead and be thinking through a few of those questions you may have. Of course, you got to throw out there the Alabama O-line must or will do what? We can get to any of those. And like I said, you can type it in the chat, or you can call us on the Alabama One hotline. The Alabama One hotline is 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. One more time, 205-342-9904. Or send your comments, reactions, or questions in the live stream chat, and we'll work it into the conversation. Once again, join us there, share it, and like the live stream at the Martin Houston 35, Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, or Martin Houston 35 on Twitter and YouTube, or you may call it the X. We've also added Max_recruiting to the broadcast. So if you happen to be tuning in there this morning, we say welcome MaXSports on Facebook as well. So the phone lines are open, X, and so we'll get right to it. But I think this would be fun. I love to finish the statements because you have no idea what people are gonna say or what direction they're gonna go. So we have to be on our toes if we have a caller call in and do that. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Cole has already called in this morning, so we're going to go ahead and get him into the conversation. Cole, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin and Xavier.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm good. Hey, let's do 34-17 Alabama. Morning.
Oh, come on out there. So Cole, I will give you what you think LSU's total yards will be? I'm sorry.
Let's go. Total yards. Total yards, like passing and running.
Yes, sir. You said 250?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would match with the score you gave. That'd be about right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, let me get you to go ahead and finish based on your score prediction. I'm going to go ahead and have you finish the statement that let me see which one going to be the best one. This Bama defense will be what?
Hey, I want to beat down. I want to beat down. Brian Kelly is messing with the wrong defense this time.
Okay. All right. So
We are better. We're better. We're better on defense this year than we were last year. So I love the defense tomorrow.
all right. Well, I'll finish that statement. According to Cole X, Bama's defense will deliver a beatdown. All right. All right, Cole. Now call me back on Monday, Cole, and we'll talk about that beatdown, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Roll
roll
Tide.
Tide, Cole. All right, Cole coming out of the box with Bama doubling up LSU X. Based on that, what would you say? Bama's defense will what?
Prove they're the best in the country if that's what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, are you saying that's what's going to happen? Now you don't get to say if it's you're making these are bold prediction statements. Bama's defense will what?
Bama's defense will prove they're the best in the country.
All right. So when you look at that, you think the 250 yards is legit or not? See,
I'm not going that low, but I do believe Alabama's defense will be the deciding factor in this game and will slow down the LSU offense that has proven to be extremely high powered this season.
So you didn't even realize you just gave three completions to that statement. Finish that statement. Bama's defense will prove that they're the best in the country. Slow down. What do you say? Slow down this LSU offense,
Powered offense.
and what? And be the deciding factor. So that's your three pretty bold statements. And for those of you who are on the live stream, Blind Squirrel Sport is a Georgia fan, and I didn't call him out. I let him come back into the program after he did his little Tennessee thing. You notice he put up his score. He said Bama 31, LSU with 3 question marks. Okay. He did that with Tennessee, and then right before we went off the air, he threw in the Tennessee score where he picked Tennessee to win. He trying to do that again today, but I'm may call him out, but he said that LSU is going to have a total of 451 yards, and I'm going, okay, that would probably lean that LSU going to have more than 31 points. But then he threw in Bama's defense will intercept 2 passes, 1 in the red zone. Will it be a pick 6? Blind Squirrel Sport, give us a call. Let us know what you think on that. Bama will do what? That's one of the questions up there. But let's get to Pat. Pat has a what the Tide line must do. Okay, all right, Pat, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin and Xavier, and so I'll set your question up. Pat, welcome in. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Martin. And
all right, hold on. Let me set the question up. Let me set the question up.
Okay.
Bama's offensive line will.
Bama's offensive line, not will, but must give Jalen time to get to his third read.
Yeah, hey, Pat,
If they give him time to get to his third read, we will beat them like a yard dog.
Okay, all right. So Pat X, let's talk about that for a second. Pat said that Alabama's offensive line must give Jalen Milroe time to get to his third read or more. Okay. And he had another finished statement, and I'm gonna let you. He said, and what was that second part, Pat? And what?
And we will beat them like a yard dog.
So Bama beats them like a yard dog, Xavier, if they do what other than the O-line?
If they, that will be LSU like a yard dog. If they control the line of scrimmage.
Okay. All right. Well, hey.
And that's hey, I want to give you my score though.
Hey, hold on, Pat. Are you changing your score? 35-22 is what you called on Tuesday now. You changing?
Yeah, 35-22. It's I'm going 34-27.
Okay. Pat changed a little bit. 34-27. And what's the total yards?
That still got us covering the spread.
What's the total yards for LSU?
Total yards for LSU 276.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate that, sir.
Hey, Martin, have a blessed day. It's already getting wild in Tuscaloosa. This is going to be a lot of traffic, man. A lot of traffic.
One day.
Crazy LSU people coming in here with their darn dogs and big old tall standard poodles. They purple and gold and got carved LSU and Go Tigers on them, and they don't know how to spell go.
Hey, Pat, Pat, have a good one. And those aren't dogs; those are corn dogs. Have a good one. Roll Tide. All right, coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going right here on your home for Alabama Sports. We'll talk a little bit more about that offensive line because Bama wins if is what we're going to come out answering. And one of those will be something about this offensive line to build off of what Pat said. You can get in on it at 205-342-9904. Go check out Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town. They are their best choice for lunch and or dinner. Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Friday morning. It's a game day weekend, so do expect extra traffic in town today and tomorrow. If you see conditions, give me a call. 2468 up to $10,000 in instant savings now on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. They're your hometown dealer, and I'm Captain Ray.
ABC Wednesday, November 8th.
It's country music's biggest night.
The CMA Awards, live. With performances by Luke Bryan, Lainey Wilson, Jelly Roll, and K. Michelle. Old Dominion with Megan Maroney, Carly Pierce featuring Chris Stapleton, Tanya Tucker with Little Big Town, and more.
The best in country music!
Luke Bryan and Peyton Manning host
The CMA Awards live.
Wednesday, November 8th, 8/7 Central on ABC, and stream next day on Hulu.
Don't miss your chance to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Open 24/7, so come on in for nonstop gaming action. You'll find the latest, hottest, most exciting games around. And you'll love the fun bonuses and big jackpots. Plus, you can watch and wager on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Dry weather continues today with a sunny sky. Tuscaloosa's high 67. Fair tonight, not as cold as recent nights, the low 41. For tomorrow and Sunday, the sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow 72, the high Sunday at 75. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 37 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Xavier and Martin. It is a beautiful, beautiful Friday Eve X, and Pat said that Bama's going to take care of business. Bama, if the O-line gives Jalen time to get to his third read or more, Bama offensive line must give him that much time, and they will dominate if they do what? He said they will give them a beat down. Is Bama prepared to give a beat down? Maybe, maybe not. But as we look at what Bama must do, part of that conversation has to be around this offensive line. I mean, and what they're able to do in terms of the entirety of the game, not just pass pro. I think this offensive line, you said it, must control the line of scrimmage. So Bama beats LSU if the offensive line is able to control the line of scrimmage, pass block. But there's one more thing that they must, at least one more thing that they must do. What's one more thing that you think Bama's offensive line must do? If they take care of those two things, will that be enough? Or do you think Bama needs to do something else?
Well, when I say control the line of scrimmage, that's run game and pass game. So that, to me, that covers both fronts with that. And of course, giving Jalen enough time to go through his progression is something that we have seen him grow with throughout the season. And I think it is something that Alabama must help Caden Proctor. That's the last thing. Yes, it's dominating the line of scrimmage. Yes, it's giving him time to go through his reads. But we know where the weak point on this offensive line is. And even though we are seeing steps in the right direction, you still have to help him. Because I know if I'm LSU, there's one player that I'm putting over number 74, and that's Harold Perkins Jr. So Alabama must help Caden Proctor in the pass game.
All right. Love that. I think that is definitely one of the things that this team must do. And I'm hoping two things happen in regards to your statement, X, during the bye week. First of all, I'm hoping that they got him to understand help football schemes. And I know by 8 weeks, he should have already had it. But sometimes, man, it's just hard when you're trying to practice and trying to get there, that sometimes it just, the mental side is just overwhelmed. And he probably came from an offense that could have been very basic, very simple, and he's just struggling with the calls and all of that. So maybe the mental time helped him a little bit. The other side of that is they need to help him, but he also needs to understand that when they don't have him a tight end over there, we still need to be able to pass the ball. Because if we do that every time in the first half, LSU will know that and will just go off unless we complement it with the running game right behind it. But the other part, he needs to learn those possessions. But here's another thing that I think that they need to look at. We have to. This O-line has to play clean football like they did against Tennessee. No pre-snap penalties. No bobble bad snaps. We cannot afford to lose any downs, Xavier. We cannot afford to have empty downs. And what I mean by that is bad play calling on first down, bad snaps from our center, or nor any pre-snap penalties that puts us behind the chains. This offense needs to be on schedule to win. Any comments on that before I circle back on the Bama wins if statement?
I 100% agree with that, and I don't think there's any other way that they can approach the game.
Yeah, Blind Squirrel Sports. He's jumping ahead, so I'm gonna save one of his responses. One of my questions is Alabama special teams must do what? So we'll circle back on that. But Jed Cohen put a response to the Bama wins or beats LSU if they do what? He says contain Jayden Daniels and Harold Perkins. You've already mentioned Harold Perkins. Since we've talked a lot about Alabama's offense, let's flip this one around and talk a little bit about the defense. Alabama wins or beats LSU if they contain Jayden Daniels. How do Alabama do that? How do they contain?
Alabama beats LSU if Jayden Daniels has less than 50 yards rushing.
Yeah, but how do they go about doing that? How do they go about containing Jayden Daniels to 50 yards or containing him in general?
The way that I think it gets done is you have to have a spy on him, and it can be a rotation of guys, which I think is the best way to do it. So is they're not able to pinpoint who it is. I do believe Jahad Campbell should be the main guy, but you should be able to situationally have it where it's Deontay Lawson, where it's Chris Braswell, where it's Dallas Turner, just depending on the set, the down, the formation, things of that nature. Maybe it's Malachi Moore, depending on the situation and the formation. So I think that's how you do it. You have a guy that you go, hey, your job on this play is make sure number 5 doesn't break loose.
Yep. And so what, you ready for me to throw a little salt in the when we look at containing Jayden Daniels, you almost, if you have to use a spy, to me, advantage goes to the offense, right? Because you take a guy out of pass coverage. And now you have a guy out of pass coverage, and LSU hasn't used their running backs a lot, but I would have a counteraction to, if you're going to spy me, I'm gonna figure out who's the spy, and I'm gonna try to flood that area where that guy would normally be helping out in zone coverage. If we have man coverage, then I know you have one less rusher, so advantage goes there. But you have to do something with Jayden Daniels, and the question becomes this: does Alabama potentially do some zone blitzing X, where they play man over the top, zone underneath, and actually drop a guy like a Borgby back to the middle, and now you have a more athletic pass rusher? Because that's another way to contain him, is to not change your run defense, because you need the power of the run defense. But now you put in X, you send a Jahad Campbell or a Deontay Lawson, and you drop out one of those linemen to kind of cover that pass zone, but you now have a more athletic guy that's rushing the quarterback, which also can help contain him. But watch this. Alabama wins if we contain Jayden Daniels and Harold Perkins. How do we contain Jayden Daniels? Offensive execution. Our offense will play as big a part on Saturday in stopping LSU as the defense does. Response?
Yeah. I mean, if Bama controls the ball, you keep him on the sideline. And the best defense against a great offense is them standing on the sideline. So that definitely plays into it. The way that's done is prolonged drives. You don't necessarily have to get 7 every time, but you can't have 3 and outs. You can't have your defense right back out on the field, especially with a guy like Jayden Daniels who does like to run around and can wear your defense out.
Yes. So 2 things there. One is you stop him with your defense, and I think this defense will be up to the task. And Chuck Hunt said, Bama, I predict Alabama to dominate LSU's offense. So he's calling on the defense, and then he kind of goes to what I was saying. The question is Alabama's offense. Will the offense execute on Saturday? Will they execute on Saturday? That's the question that so many of us is waiting on. And so I'll ask you a follow-up question to that, X. Alabama's offense executes if Tommy Rees does what?
Alabama's offense will execute if Tommy Rees calls the game the way we know he can. We've seen glimpses of it in the first half of a game or the second half of a game, but there's that level of consistency. Don't go outside of the frame of what this offense does well. Call those deep balls early in the game. Call those outside runs early in the game. Be consistent in what Bama does well.
Yep, and that's the dude. Bama executes if Tommy Rees can duplicate what he did in the second half against Tennessee. We'll get the break here. We're doing a finish this statement kind of broadcast where we're working in your calls and your questions and your responses to the questions and your comments. If you want to get in on it, give us a call, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Or you can always put your comments into the chat. As we go to break here, asking you one more time and giving you a chance to respond to Bama beats LSU if they do what, but also coming back on the other side, we'll keep that conversation going and we'll add another question into the fray. And as you think about it during the break, this is the question. You ready? Don't take your hand off the steering wheel, but put your hand on the phone dial, 205-342-9904, and answer the following question. Bama's special teams must do what? Bama special teams must do what? We'll have the answer to that on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we got a report of a stalled vehicle southbound on Alabama 171 before Lowry Drive. Partially on the roadway, very dim light, hard to see. Just be careful. If you see conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the program. Got a little audio I want you to hear. See what Nick Saban had to say on Hey Coach.
So we can scrimmage, move the ball down the field, and keep their offense on the sidelines. So with the confidence that our players got in the second half against Tennessee, how has that played out through the bye week and this week in their preparation for this game?
You know, the players have been really positive about the bye week. They were really positive about the time off. They came back, you know, with a good mindset about how to get ready for this game. But I think that's the most important thing in the game is that the players are able to focus, you know, on each and every play in the game. You know, we have not played a 60-minute game, you know, this year. We played really well at times in games, sometimes not so well, and the Tennessee game was a great example of that. We lost the first half 20-6, and we won the second half 27-0. It's the same team, the same players. So that's how important mindset is. That's how important having a sense of urgency about what you're doing, having a focus about what you're doing, so you have a sense of immediacy about this is the most important thing, what's happening right now, what's in front of me, this play. Too many guys get affected by, you know, external factors, things that happened the last play. I made a bad throw, or I missed a ball, or, you know, I missed a tackle, or whatever it is at whatever position, and they have a hard time refocusing on the next play. And then you start the reel. But I think that you have to stay not only positive, but you have to stay focused on what do I have to do? What is my job this next play? And I got to be 100% focused on that and have the right mindset to do it. And I think when you're talking about emotion and when you're talking about games, you know, that ebb and flow goes up and down. But you have to be able to stay locked into what's happening right in front of you, or you let a good player make you look bad.
That's Coach Nick Saban, responding to a question, and it was talking about controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. But he talked about how important it is that Alabama play 60 minutes. Bama beats LSU if they play 60 minutes. I mean, if they play 60 minutes, Bama walks out of this stadium with a solid win. Here's Bam 72 says Bama wins if we play 4 quarters like we played second half of Tennessee game. Run the ball effectively, can't turn it over, no costly penalties, and score TDs when we're in the red zone. Pretty good, complete plan there. Any response to Bam there, X? You're muted. All right, not picking up Xavier.
Am I good now?
Yes.
I think Bam hit the nail on the head. I think you have to play a complete football game. You have to play it for 60 minutes, especially against a team like LSU. I know there's all this noise around who LSU's missing on defense and things of that nature. But if Alabama doesn't capitalize on what they're missing on defense, it can hurt our defense because we should be able to stretch the field. We should be able to run the ball with the guys that are missing from this LSU team. But if we don't, That means that defense is on the field a lot longer than they should be.
Yep. And that's the key. Marvin Marbury saying Bama wins if the offense goes full throttle at start and finish by keeping the defense and LSU keeping the defense, our defense and LSU's offense on the sidelines. Following up with that same thought of what we had said earlier in the program. So, the next question, X, is we sometimes forget the 1/3 of the game is special teams. And in our loss to Texas, the only area I think we won the game was in special teams. So Bama special teams must do what if we're going to win?
Control field position. And that's James Burnup has been amazing as a punter this year and has been able to pin teams deep on a consistent basis. But in return, we've given up a lot of field position with not fielding punts and putting our offense in a bad position. There's been talks about Isaiah Bond being the punt returner moving forward. So that if that's the case, I don't care if it's Kool-Aid back there. I don't care if it's Bond, whoever. I don't care if we get a single yard on a punt return. Just catch the ball.
Yep, and that's what. And hey, listen, catching the ball this week, if you take last week's game, will be the equivalent of having a 20+ yard average on returns, because we probably lost on average on punts last week somewhere around 15 to 20 yards. And not only that, is your playbook shrinks the closer you get to your goal line. And so when we could have had the ball at the 50 and the 40 or the 35, we were getting the ball at the 20 and at the 5, and that changes your playbook. So special teams must, Jed Cohen said, special teams must catch all punt. With that thought, it kind of well, I guess the other question is, let me give a little love to our kicker. Reichert will extend his lead of all-time SEC scoring leader by scoring how many points in this game, closing in on the all NCAA all-time scoring record?
Let's see. I'm thinking about my score prediction. Will Reichert will score 10 points this week for Alabama.
Yep. And I had him. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what your score is, because based on mine, my score, he will have to score 11 points. So and I'll tell you what my score is. I think I calculated that correctly. Also, we just had another response. Marvin Marbury said the Alabama special teams must pin LSU in a hole and contain Daniels to make him throw sooner than he wants to create and force turnovers. So another way to contain Jayden Daniels is to take away some of his playbook. Punt the ball deep, and pin him deep, and the playbook shrinks, and then play good defense. So good insight there from, I'm going to just have to call him MDM, Marvin Marbury, commenting there. All right, next, since we talked about the special teams, kind of makes sense. This next question, Kool-Aid McKinstry will what?
Kool-Aid McKinstry will play a great game at corner and not be Alabama's punt returner.
So Kool-Aid McKinstry will not be the punt returner, according to Xavier, and he will have to have a shutdown type of day, in my opinion. X, if Bama's going to win, Kool-Aid McKinstry will have to have his best game of his career. And Blind Squirrel Sports says Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's going heavy on it. He says Kool-Aid McKinstry will intercept 2 passes, and one of those will be in the red zone. So he's being consistent that Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be that dude that takes care of that, takes care of what he has going on in his territory. You all in on the fact that Kool-Aid won't be the returner?
I'm 90% in on it. If that, I don't think he'll be the punt returner. Just from some of the things we've heard from Isaiah Bond, the talks about there being changes within the punt return game, that I think there's a possibility, a big possibility.
All right. We got a couple of comments that we got in from the app. Want to bring those into the conversation really quick. Ronnie call in saying Bama beats them if we eliminate penalties, put a spy on Daniels and pressure him and make him rush his passes. And of course, he has a score prediction there. He has Bama 34, LSU 27. So, and he has 325 yards, and that's good that he gave me a tiebreaker there because Pat changed his score to 34-27. So, but that's from Ronnie X. Some people thinking it's going to be a tight game. Some thinking it's going to be this big shootout. Complete this statement. This LSU game versus Bama will look more like which LSU game of the past? Think through that for a second. And while you're thinking through that, I'm going to pull up we had another comment coming in from Jaffe in terms of him responding to that particular question. And he said the following, I hear a lot of talking heads saying it's going to be a shootout. I just don't understand how that's going to be the case when Bama defense has a good defense, I should say, and LSU defense isn't that good. Help me understand Tide 109. He's putting us on the spot, X. He's saying, come on now. I hear y'all saying it. I hear you saying it's going to be a lot of points scored, but shouldn't Bama offense run away with this game versus LSU? If our defense shows up, he's right. Our offense should be able to pull away from this team.
Yeah, and I'll probably say, just trying to think back. I think this game ends up being very similar to last year's game. There's going to be moments where the defense shines on both sides, but then I think there's moments where Alabama's offense is able to pull away a little bit more and finish in places where they didn't finish last year.
Yeah, and as we get ready to go to break, I got we're going to do a couple more questions, and it'll be more specific to players. And I have a response to the Kool-Aid McKinstry thought, but this game is going to look like the 9-6 game. No, just kidding. What would happen if this game mirrored that 9-6 game from years gone past, and it was a defensive struggle? Would Bama fans, watch this, Xavier, would Bama fans be excited about that? Because it would mean our defense is absolutely national championship quality, but what would it say about our offense? Yep. So that's the risk of a 9-6 type of game and Alabama winning a close one. I do think it's going to be a close I think it could be close at some point, where last year we couldn't pull away because of mistakes and not handling adversity. Saban and I both agree that we think this team can handle adversity, and they're going to be in their home stadium. And we'll talk about what Alabama's going to do. We'll get really quick, just a couple more finish this statement questions. Then we'll get our score, and we'll give you our players of the game candidates. Those conversations and more happening right here on your home for Alabama sports. Go check out alabama1.org, alabama1.org, and just click on our little banner carousel, and you'll be able to find out more about our farm and outdoor promotion, loan promotion, and our Black Wednesday loan and deposit promotion. 6 for 6 CD. Get a 6% interest rate on a 6-month CD. Will make you a winner and or make you some money. Alabama1.org. One together. What's your one?
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we got a report of a stalled vehicle southbound on Alabama 171 before Lowry Drive. Partially on the roadway, very dim lights, hard to see. Just be careful. If you see conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good morning. A renaming ceremony for a portion of US 43 North will be held at One Hope Church at 1501 McFarland Boulevard at 11 this morning. Now, the highway between mile markers 212 and 213 will be named the Audra Rogers Memorial Mile. In July 2021, the 36-year-old pregnant Rogers died in a two-car crash that injured her other 4 children. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
They're back. The 2023 Alabama Crimson Tide football season is on Tide 100.9. Saturdays are game day all day, starting with the Tide 100.9 tailgate show, hosted by DC and former Tide star Christian Miller. Listen as they take you to the sideline and the locker room for all the latest game day news and insights that will get every Tide fan ready for kickoff. Don't miss the Tide tailgate show with DC and Christian Miller on Tide 100.9, powered by Pearl River Resort, your destination for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment.
Hey, nacho fries are back at Taco Bell, and there's even more fries to love. But they're not going to hang around forever, so don't wait. Or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact a local store for hours and participation which vary.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Been a fun show, man. We've gotten interactions from callers. We've gotten interactions from those who are on the live video stream, and we've gotten interaction from those who are on the app. Some of you haven't gotten your score in. You need to get it in before we go off the air. Score predictions with tiebreaker LSU total yards is the tiebreaker. Paulie making a comment from earlier. Bama wins if they hold LSU under 30 points. And he has Bama getting 37 and LSU getting 28. So cool beans there. The Paulie getting in on the conversation. X Blind Squirrel Sport throwing out here Jermaine Burton. I see Jermaine Burton having 125 yards on that depleted LSU secondary. What are your thoughts in terms of if that happens, Bama wins by what?
If Burton gets off for 125, I think that's a great start to what Alabama needs to do to get the game won. And I believe that Alabama wins by 10 plus if that happens.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Bam Bam 72 said, since Saban has compared this team to the 2015 team, I'm hoping this game is like that 2015 LSU game, 30-16. Now, Bam Bam, is that your score, or that's what you hope to see? But 30-16 would not be a bad win for this Alabama Crimson Tide team. That was Bam Bam responding to my question of this team. This game will look like what game 2015. Saban loves this team. They've dealt with adversity, and I believe Saban knows, if this team can put it all together, man, it will be special. And with that said, this defense could be what?
This defense could be, if this team will be returning back to form. I think that's just the best way to put it.
And now I'm going to go ahead. This defense could be the best that Bama's put on the field in the Saban era. That's where they're trending to me, because what they've done in the second half is absolutely stifling to the other teams. I mean, it's not even close, X, what they've done to the other. In the second half, this team is playing like the early defenses in terms of point totals. I mean, that's just like Jalen Milroe will lead the Tide to what?
A dominating win.
A what?
Dominating win.
A dominating win. I think he will lead them to the SEC championship game. And that starts with a victory Saturday. And with that said, what's your score? And then we'll close out with the players of the game.
My score is 34 Bama, 23 LSU, and I think LSU gets 321 total yards of offense.
All right. And I have it 41-27 with 330 on yards. And I had them getting a couple. They're going to get in the red zone. We're going to hold them. They're going to get a couple, because they could go a lot higher if we don't hold them to field goals. That's 2 field goals, 3 touchdowns. But I also have us getting a couple field goals and getting in the end zone. I said Jalen Milroe will account for 4 touchdowns. I don't think that the game was as close as it played out, even though we lost the game. I think Bama made a lot of mistakes that kept them alive.
Yes.
So I think we kept them alive.
Right. They definitely did. They definitely kept LSU in the game last year.
And we had some issues with what we did in the red zone. Couple times we got inside the 5. If Alabama gets inside the 5, they must do what?
Run the football.
And if they run the football, Bama wins the game. I'm telling you, if we get inside the 5, we had an interception inside the 5 and on the first drive of the game, and we had at least one other time where we got down and we were like at the 3-yard line and we ended up taking a field goal. That's a potential swing of 11 points, because we didn't get to 7, and then we didn't get 7 either time. We only got 3 out of a potential 14 points. We will have to do better than that. Who you got from player of the game?
Real quick, the last 2 times LSU has beaten Alabama, we've turned the ball over in the red zone on the first drive. 2019, 2022. Just saying. Players of the game, I think it's going to have to be Jalen Milroe on the offensive side of the ball. Everything runs through him. This offense goes as he goes. And defensively, I am going to go with I'm going to go with Dallas Turner. I think he absolutely wears out this offensive line for LSU and has a couple sacks that change the course of the game.
All right. Now, who did you say you had on offense?
Jalen Milroe.
You're going with the hey, listen. I just realized this. I don't know why I haven't called him DT before. DT 2.0. We need DT 2.0 to show up. Dallas Turner. DT, my prediction, DT 2.0 shows up, dominates the game, has 2.5 sacks, along with Braswell having a sack, and Daniels is not only stifled, he may not be hurt for the season, but he misses a few plays in this game. This Bama defense takes care of business. And on the offensive side of the ball, Jace McClellan has his best game of the season, possibly his career. But that's all going to be because of the play of Jalen Milroe. So I'm going to say they're going to be my co-players of the game because they're going to take care of it, which means the offense dominated and the wide receivers had their best all-around game as well. Complete domination by Alabama's offense and the defense together with special teams gives Alabama the 41-27 victory, according to me, and 34-23 by X. X, real quick, what you got, man?
Hey, for me personally, high school football season wrapping up, I will be going out to County High versus Brookwood tonight and covering the game, get to see maybe a potential Alabama player playing tonight in Kevin Riley.
Yep, Kevin Riley may flip to the Tide. We'll see. We'll track that on Thursdays with recruiting. Hey, remember this. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Bama versus LSU. It's game time now, and we will see Bama 41-27. Hey, we'll be back on Monday with Kennington Smith III to talk about it, and we'll be here. But, hey, remember this. Visit us at Harvest Church this Sunday, 10 a.m. worship service. Love to have you. That's Harvest Church, loving God, loving people, and we'd love to see your face in the place. Roll Tide and take down those Bengal Tigers.
Let's celebrate. Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.